More thunderstorms are in the forecast as we go into Wednesday, going on into Thursday. Coming up in a bit, I'll let you know if it will impact concerts on the square, and a little bit later, something that was in the sky in southwest Wisconsin. I'll explain the weather phenomenon.
And Monkey Shine's Bar and Grill could soon close. We'll have the decision from Fitchburg City Council as it reviews the troubled business's liquor license.
Plus, plans for major growth in a Madison suburb, why neighbors are speaking out, and what city leaders think of this proposal. That is all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Sarah Carlson.
And I'm Eric Franke. More storms are possible tonight.
That's right. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington is tracking them. And Alex, what's happening now?
We have some showers and a couple rumbles of thunder down towards the Wisconsin-Illinois border. The rest of this evening, though, want to give you first heads up that it looks very likely that those showers and thunderstorms will go into a weakening mode, similar to what we saw last night, but nowhere near as widespread as what we saw last night. Just a couple of showers down towards Monroe, over towards Janesville, maybe a clap or two of thunder, and certainly some heavy downpours, even just with these small area of showers because of the humidity that's out there. Again, just the lone isolated shower to the south and to the south of Madison, over towards Monroe and over towards Janesville. Then we have the all-important question, concerts on the square tomorrow. There may be a brief, narrow window of opportunity between, let's say, 7 p.m. and 9 p.m., and that's when the concert occurs, where we might have just a bit of dry time, but thunderstorms before and after that. We use Future Track to give you a projection on what those storms will, when those storms will move into your neighborhood and how they may impact concerts on the square. And we talked about cold air funnels at 6 o'clock. Did we have any? I'll let you know coming up in a bit.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Alex. Well, we told you last night about the roof collapse at the Woodman's grocery store on Madison's east side, but that's not the only place hit with flooding from yesterday's storm. This is what the nonprofit Camp Creatability looked like this morning. They had water partly dried up with that mud, showing just how far it traveled. Now, this nonprofit is a place for kids, teens, and adults with autism to come and enjoy the fine arts. The camp's owner says there's been flooding before, but she knew this was worse.
I wanted to cry because this is our clients' safe space. It's the place they feel comfortable with. It's their home away from home, and so for a lot of them, we just disrupted their day today, and it's a lot of dysregulation for them, and just my heart's breaking for them.
Well, Camp Creatability does hope to be back up and running in a temporary space by the end of the week. They also have a GoFundMe to help with the financial burden.
The fourth person in a Janesville murder-suicide has died. That shooting happened on June 17th, a week ago today, at Aspen Square Apartments in Janesville. 3 people, including the shooter, were found dead at the scene. Officers did find one adult alive with life-threatening injuries. That person died at a medical facility on Monday morning. The Rock County Medical Examiner's Office has yet to release their name. The city of Fitchburg votes on whether Monkey Shine's Bar and Grill will be able to keep its alcohol license.
This comes after a string of incidents at that bar. Jalen Banks joins us now from Fitchburg City Hall with the results of that vote.
The Fitchburg Common Council met Tuesday evening to vote on whether or not to renew the alcohol license of Monkey Shine's Bar and Grill, a bar marred by violence the last 5 years. In a 4-3 vote, the Fitchburg City Common Council voted to renew the alcohol license of Monkey Shine's Bar and Grill. This comes after several years of frequent police calls and a homicide last month.
Was encountered with was in November of 2021, so we're going back to 2021 or the present. There has been 228 calls for service at the Monkey Shines that resulted in 29 arrests. Out of those 228 calls for service, there were 109 bar checks.
The bar's owner presented several changes the bar would make in order to keep their license. Those included a complete name change and rebrand, create a more family-friendly environment. Also, changing its closing time from 1:30 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Unfortunately, the plans we put together along with the city have not been aggressive enough. We believe that this proposal of rebranding, along with the large following of loyal customers that we have, will make it possible for us to continue running.
And will close the doors of the business for the month of July to do so. However, this did not sway all the members of the council to renew its license.
Any calls we don't want, but the difference in the calls is also quite stark. So I guess, Corey, maybe a pointed question: why should we trust that this is going to be any different than the the last 5 years.
After the rebrand, Fitchburg Mayor Julia Rada said that they will continue to closely monitor the business. For now, reporting in Fitchburg, Jalen Banks, News 3 Now.
Jalen, thank you. The city can start the revocation process of the alcohol license at any point if they deem it worthy.
A casual day of boating on Lake Koshkonong almost turned tragic, if not for the quick thinking of one man. Thursday evening, 2 boats crashed just off Dolman Boat Landing. A woman was trying to climb back onto one of the boats when the crash happened, severely injuring her foot. That's when Eric Hughes jumped into the water and without any training made a tourniquet out of some rope. The woman's family says she probably would have bled out if it weren't for Eric.
It has been 9 months since the village of McFarland has had a permanent chief of police, and that won't change for a while. The village has been in a recruitment phase, but has announced they are back to square one. McFarland's village administrator says the process has helped clear up some priorities, and he's confident in the leadership and current direction of the police department. The hiring of a new lieutenant is now at the top of that list.
There's other places we can be impactful in a shorter time period that will benefit the next recruitment as well. Where we're at now is just an incredibly stable department.
The village administrator adds that a new police chief will be found and put in place sometime in early 2026.
Well, like just about anywhere in Dane County, Fitchburg's population is rapidly growing.
But plans to accommodate that growth in one neighborhood has residents pushing back on the city. They brought their concerns to our Maddie Heimsch.
This is Fitchburg's Greenfield neighborhood.
We like the rural appeal of this area.
And these are Greenfield's neighbors.
I have lived in this neighborhood for about 35 plus years. For more than 25 years.
Since 1996.
75 years.
They're at the center of the city's most recent neighborhood plan, outlining future housing, land use, transportation, and economic goals for the area.
The city is very intent on developing in this area.
But they're advocating for the city to leave their rural region as is and focus development towards spaces already host to apartment buildings, businesses, and bus lines.
They've already got services up north of here. Why not infill there? And then keep the rural areas out here.
Community development planner Brad Sippel says it can't just be urban and suburban areas making room.
We feel like we need to have both in order to adequately accommodate the expected growth of the community.
Residents are most concerned they'll be forced to abandon their private septic systems and pay to connect to city sewage lines.
Which will cost the neighbors individually a lot of money.
And that Greenfield's namesake, Greenfields, will be no longer.
When you take a farm and you turn it into, say, apartments, it will never go back to becoming a farm.
But Sippel says the neighborhood plan is just forethought.
The city's not pushing development in this area. It's really just setting up a neighborhood plan so that when it does occur, it occurs kind of thoughtfully.
And while septic costs and land use are to be determined, he says growth is inevitable.
The growth is happening, so we're not deciding whether or not to grow. We're using this planning process to decide how we grow.
Greenfield residents just want to be considered in that growth.
I would be really saddened to lose our neighborhood.
Reporting in Fitchburg, Maddie Heimsch, News 3 Now.
Now, the city tells us they do not have any developers lined up to build on the land as the plan is still in progress. News 3 Now will continue following and update you on any developments.
The Wisconsin Supreme Court delivers a win for environmentalists in the fight over forever chemicals. In a 5-2 ruling, the court found that state lawmakers can force landowners to clean up emerging pollutants such as PFAS before they are officially designated as hazardous substances. It is the latest development in a year-long battle involving regulators, environmentalists, politicians, and businesses over how to deal with PFAS contamination. Former UW lacrosse Chancellor Joe Gow will have his day in federal court. It'll be next summer. The trial expected to last 5 days, with 8 jurors deciding whether the university violated Gow's constitutional rights when they fired him from his tenured faculty position after officials discovered that Dr. Gow and his wife appeared in pornographic videos online. Now, Dr. Gow argues that the videos he created were not obscene or illegal, but university officials say Gow's actions damaged the institution's reputation and could affect enrollment. The trial is set for June 22nd of 2026.
The millions of Americans who have private health insurance will soon see changes designed to reduce red tape. Insurers, including United Healthcare and Cigna, are among those who have agreed to speed up and reduce the process of prior authorizations. Those are the approvals needed from the insurance companies before health providers administer the care.
So You know, you go to the doctor, right? A lot of times they'll tell you what the fix is, what the procedure is, and then the doc goes, wait, you should probably check with your insurance company because they might not actually cover it. And so a lot of times you need what is known as a prior authorization, a pre-approval. And this has been a huge pain point for patients, providers. It takes a lot of time. It can be confusing.
So beginning in January, participating insurers will reduce the scope of claims that need pre-approval. Patients can also expect more transparency regarding how those approval decisions are made. By the start of 2027, health plans will aim to provide a standard process for submitting electronic pre-approval requests and answer 80% of those in real time.
Well, the Janesville Lions Club's annual fundraiser is returning this summer. Their Tom's Blueberries fundraiser allows people to purchase 5-pound boxes of blueberries for $25. Now, club members actually travel to Michigan in late July and drive those berries back the same day. The exact date depends on the growing season. It'll be posted on social media. All proceeds benefit the Lions Club's community service projects. A link to purchase can be found on our website, channel3000.com. When we come back at 10, the future of a program helping low-income Americans find jobs is in doubt.
Plus, President Trump travels to Europe for a NATO summit, and the delay of classified briefings for Congress have some Democrats outraged. That's next.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Welcome back. President Trump is in The Hague, Netherlands for a 2-day NATO summit.
This as classified briefings on the U.S. strikes in Iran intended for members of Congress have been delayed. Erica Brown has the latest.
President Trump was greeted by the King and Queen of the Netherlands Tuesday evening, all part of the NATO summit the president is attending this week in The Hague. The summit comes just one day after President Trump announced a ceasefire in the war between Israel and Iran. On Tuesday morning, as the president departed for the Netherlands, the ceasefire appeared to be on shaky ground. The president, using profanity, was visibly frustrated.
We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
The Israeli-Iranian conflict and the president's decision to dispatch targeted bombers to Iran's nuclear sites over the weekend are expected to be among the topics of discussion at the 2-day summit, along with Russia's war with Ukraine. Ahead of his arrival in Europe, the president posted a screenshot of a message from NATO's Secretary General congratulating him for decisive action in Iran, saying it was something no one else dared to do. Here on Capitol Hill, the classified briefings that were intended to provide members of Congress with details about the U.S. strikes on Iran were delayed, frustrating Democrats. And we're told the Senate briefing has been pushed to Thursday so the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Defense can participate. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer slammed the delay.
There is a legal obligation for the administration to inform Congress about precisely what is happening. What are they afraid of?
The White House says the delay was due to new circumstances following positive developments in the Middle East. Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.
In other news, it looks like the future of the Job Corps run by the Department of Labor is in doubt. The Trump administration announced it will be pausing operations for this program. For more than 60 years, Job Corps has trained and educated more than 2 million people. It is for low-income residents between the ages of 16 and 24, helping with access to housing while learning specific training skills for up to 3 years. Now, some experts say if the program is cut, it could have wide impacts on the broader economy.
If we're not filling those jobs, if we're not backfilling those positions, there's going to be less workers out there.
It's going to affect everyone because now these kids are going to go back to broken homes. They're going to go back to violence. They're going to go back to trying to survive.
When the Department of Labor originally announced the program's closure, it pointed to low graduation rates, high costs, and reports of serious incidents that appeared to threaten students' safety. But Job Corps supporters say those numbers in the report are inaccurately interpreted. Well, the first warned weather team expects this entire week to be stormy.
Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington has mentioned there was a chance for what are known as cold air funnels this evening. He mentioned that at 6. So, Alex, did we see any?
Look behind me here. Yes, we certainly did. Spring Green and also near the Cobb and near the Plain and the Lone Rock area. Darcy sending us this cold air funnel cloud picture. Marvin sending us almost another image of that same cold air funnel cloud, a little bit wider out view here from Marvin. Thank you all for sending us these photos here showing that cold air funnel cloud. And I'll explain what it is in just one moment here. Here's another view from Sue and another one from Elaine. So quite a few cold air funnel clouds we're seeing in the Spring Green area. What is it? It's a funnel cloud that's associated with a weak shower, rarely touches the ground. The rotation is just right at the base of the shower. It's not a big rotating storm like a supercell. And tornado warnings are usually not issued for cold air funnel clouds because they typically don't touch the ground, but local law enforcement absolutely have the authority to issue the warning sirens to go out if they feel there is a need to do so, and that did occur in parts of southwest Wisconsin. Now let's turn our attention to more storm chances here. Isolated overnight, high chances Wednesday going into Thursday. We're also watching the flooding potential. We've had a lot of rain, and with the chance for a couple strong storms, we had the heavy rain in there, and with already some existing flooding, we could have that flooding get a little bit worse in some areas of southern Wisconsin. Right now, this is just ground, what we call ground clutter here on the radar in Dane County. A couple showers here from Janesville over towards Monroe, Broadhead, and some heavy downpours certainly can't be ruled out. The rest of southern Wisconsin is dry at this point in time. And the all-important concerts on the square. Will it be storming? We'll use Future Track to show you. There will be storms likely before 5 p.m., some storms possible at 7 p.m., and storms moving into the area towards the end of the concert as well. So we're keeping a very close eye on this. I have close collaboration with Joe, their CEO, and we will help to make that call tomorrow to keep everybody safe. Dry at 2 o'clock in the morning. Here comes that front back to the north as a warm front, 8 o'clock. A couple scattered showers and a couple of thunderstorms throughout the day. As we head towards noon, we may have a brief break from Madison areas to the south. 4 o'clock, nothing. But then watch what happens as we get towards 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock. A cluster of thunderstorms moving through right through the heart of Dane County. More storms off towards the west. Those storms moving through the areas we head towards 9, 10, 11 o'clock, and they're moving through as lines. And usually when you see line segments, that means gusty winds are the main threat from those thunderstorms from the severe weather threat perspective. And then we do it all over again on Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening. More lines of thunderstorms, and with these also heavy rainfall as we have repeated lines of thunderstorms for the next 2 days. So moderate risk for flooding, moderate risk for strong gusty winds. We'll keep an eye on the hail and the tornado threat as well. Once we get past Wednesday and Thursday, unsettled conditions will get steamy by the weekend, and a cold front will slice through that humid stuff on Sunday, bringing us another chance for thunderstorms. But all eyes on tomorrow. We'll be keeping a close eye on Radar 3000 and Future Track to give latest updates on concerts on the square and the forecast for it.
All right, it'll be a close one.
It will.
Thanks, Alex.
And Zach is here with sports. A new home for a Badger women's hockey great, huh?
Yeah, speaking about hockey, ice, could use some ice right now. Coming up in sports, heading to the Big Apple when Casey O'Brien was taken. That's next on News 3 Now. The pipeline from Madison to the PWHL continued, with Casey O'Brien being the next Badger to turn pro, but the Patty Caz winner didn't have to wait too long. O'Brien was taken 3rd overall by the New York Siren, who traded up to get her. The Badger captain tallied 88 points last year, and OB simply cannot wait to get to the Big Apple.
I'm feeling ecstatic. I'm super honored that New York traded up for me. It's pretty special, and this just caps off such an amazing year. I can't wait. I hope to make an impact right away, and there's some great players there who I'm super excited to get the opportunity to play with.
Well, Brianna Decker is headed to the Hall again, but this one is the big one. The Wisconsin women's hockey legend will be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame as a member of the 2025 class. Now, this comes less than a year after she was inducted into the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame. Decker is the first former Badger women's hockey star to be in both Hall of Fames. One of the neat parts about guarding against cancer is that Greg Gard and his wife Michelle just don't focus on one area of Wisconsin to raise money and awareness. They take the fight around the state. And in September, they're teaming up with his brother Jeff and coming to Platteville to support local cancer organizations in southwest Wisconsin. Now, these events are always good, but this one is just a little more special for all the guards.
This is bigger than basketball, and I think for us to be able to come back, you know, having only grown up 25 miles away from here, and they've all been special. this one climbs to the top of the ladder. And obviously this event keeps the money in Southwest Wisconsin. This is an opportunity for us to put money back into Southwest Wisconsin and support those individuals that are going through the fight and making sure that they know that they're not going through it alone.
But the fundraising doesn't stop there. In October, the two brothers will coach against each other when the Pioneers visit the Badgers in the Guarding Against Cancer's annual benefit game. It will be the third meeting between Wisconsin and Platteville, the first since 2016. Game 2 between the Brewers and Pirates, and the Crew were loving that long ball, more specifically Joey Ortiz. No score in the third, and Joey O sends a 2-run bomb off the Johnsonville Brat sign. That makes it 2-0 Milwaukee. Next inning, he's up again, and Ortiz sends a solo shot into the bullpen. That was part of back-to-back jacks. Brew Crew wins it 9-3, the final. And that's it for sports. Alex is back with one last look at your forecast after the break.
Can such a large man be from such a small town?
Good question. That's why I had to leave, Stephen. To make room for more people.
Colbert's All New with John Cena. CBS Tonight.
And on News 3 Now this morning, Concerts on the Square returns tomorrow, weather permitting. We've been discussing. This morning team will speak with organizers to see how they plan to kick off the festivities.
A surreal sight spotted off the Florida coast, a double waterspout. This was churning near the city of Bradenton. The city's mayor snagging that video.
Wow, the dual funnel display was nothing more than a fun spectacle for the mystified spectators. Those waterspouts, I should say, stayed away from land and did not cause any damage.
That kind of puts the little cold air funnel clouds to shame.
It did. Yeah, it did. It's not local, but that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is impressive, no doubt.
And we're keeping an eye on more shower and storm chances. First, I want to take a look real quick here at Radar 3000. Just a couple lone showers. Doesn't look very ominous. But when you take a look at rainfall estimates with these showers, some have produced over 2 inches of rain over a very short period of time. So there are flood advisories to the south, to the east, over towards the Broadhead area. And heavy rain is going to be a concern. Not so much tonight. I think things are going to stay generally quiet overall tonight. But as we go into tomorrow, there are high chances for showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. In the evening hours, we'll be tracking the potential for a couple stronger storms. And then we repeat it again on Thursday, and also keeping an eye on the flooding potential, as it could easily get a couple of inches of rain from each storm.
All right.
I can already see the stress a little bit. This is going to be a tough call.
It's going to be a tough call tomorrow.
All right, we'll do what's safest for the folks. So, all right, Alex, thank you. Thanks for watching us at 10. The Stephen Colbert Show coming up next with John Cena.